Hey everybody, what's up? OCD Mikey, HiFi guy here. I am back for another edition of Audio Autopsy, and this time it's going to be the Jeff Rowland model 125 amplifier. This is one of my, I'll put it this way, this is my choice for entry level into the high-end audio world. And you must understand, I'm a picky guy, okay, with everything. You call it connoisseur, call it pain in the ass, call it whatever you want to call it. I don't eat normal, I won't eat just crappy food that's just normal junk. I don't buy normal junk. I like things that will last. This, if you have never owned a Jeff Rowland piece, this will hip you to a new world of hi-fi that you did not know existed until you buy something of this manufacturing quality. This is 13.5 inches wide, 6 inches deep, and it's 2.5 inches tall. But this puppy is a block of 6061 aircraft grade aluminum. As you can see, maybe if I turn it this way, you can see the machining, how it gives you these nice scalloped sort of look here. This is not normal machining. Normal machining would just make some even, plain, with maybe they throw it on the time saver and they use a sanding belt to sand grain into it. This actually has very small arched machine marks, which is a completely different level than a time saver. The whole thing is one solid block of aluminum. That means they start with a brick and they mill it out from the bottom and mill this out so that the cavity, so that they can put the electronics inside. Now you ask yourself, why does it do that? And why would they do that with everything? Because it leaves no seams. There's no seams on the edge. There's no seam on the back. There's no screws that need to go in, making it look janky. This is a fine piece. This is top level manufacturing. You don't find machining like this in just any piece. Very few. In fact, Jeff Rowland is the only company that I know of that mills things out of complete straight blocks of aluminum. I know some people copy, but Jeff has been doing this forever, and nobody does these kind of machining textures. If you look at the front, you can see the same thing. This is a gorgeous piece. Now, this is the entry-level Jeff Rowland piece. Yet, this is the same exact build element, or the build quality or build process as the $40,000 monoblocks. This is the same process, same grade of aluminum, same, if you look right here, this is not a lid that's screwed on. This is not a faceplate. This is a routed out bevel or chamfer. I can't remember what you call this on the machine, but and then they're both hard anodized. This is clear anodized. This is black anodized. So what do you have to do to make this so that you only anodize this part and you don't anodize that part? Just try it. Just try and ask somebody at your machining company or at your aluminum company, hey, I'd like to have half of it black and the other half silver. Can you do that in the anodizing machine? So good luck on doing that. That alone is a huge feat. So this is, again, one piece, not a face panel. Okay, otherwise, if it were face panel, you'd see screws here or there'll be screws on the inside. But we can see it's just a routed edge, and then it's a clean line for the hard anodize and the machining. Okay, if we go around to the back side, okay, you can see this is just right on the back of the block. Look, I mean, can you hear that? Like, let me get a little metal something. You know, I mean, if I hit it, it's not ringing. There's no ringing in this. Okay, there's no bong, bong, bong you would hear on a normal piece of anything. This is $3,500. For anything else, $3,500, you're going to hear bong, gong, gong, gong when you hit the top. That last piece I showed you, the Shinyata, they put damping on the inside. So people will put dynamat to keep it from vibrating. But this is a solid block of aluminum, so it's not going to vibrate. We have the XLR's input that you see here. The reason these have only XLRs and not RCAs is because Jeff's designs are always balanced. So this is a balanced design. It is bridgeable. Here's your switch for stereo or mono. Okay, that means you're only going to use one of these if you bridge to mono, and you're only going to use one of these outputs. We've got the inlet, AC inlet with a fuse in here, and the switch, and this is for standby. It also has a remote. Okay, so there's a remote in here should you want to control it with a controller piece. You can turn it on and off. It's got a 12-volt remote trigger. You can see all the nomenclature. This is all right on the back of the block of aluminum. Now, what you see over here are called Cardus audio binding posts. These are a patented binding post. There is nothing that allows you to crank down harder with your fingers without using a tool than these. And what this looks like is it's made out of Delrin, again, a very high quality polymer, and you've got straight bars that go in. This is these are rhodium plated copper. They go straight into the machine, and then the wire attaches on the inside to here, but it's just a straight contact pin. It's a heavy duty. You can see what gauge that is. That's probably about a 4, maybe a, let's see, that's probably a 6 gauge, I would say. And it's just one solid contact surface. This is not for bananas, okay? This is for spades. Spades are always a stronger connection than a banana. Bananas are more convenient, but spades have more surface contact area and with higher pressure. What this allows, we've got here is an aluminum machined knob with thick rubber O-rings. If I push hard enough, it'll come off and I'll see a groove inside there. I don't even want to do it. But these are 2 rubber O-rings that are on this aluminum knob. So you turn this down, and man, you can crank this thing. What I'm trying to describe with this ability to crank down is I can use, in other words, if you, on a normal binding post, this part here is going to be your conductive part. So you're cranking down on the bolt normally with a normal binding post. That means you cannot use, or you should not use, pure copper for this. You need to use a brass or something else like that. You can't use anything soft, because if you crank down on it, you're going to strip the threads totally. In this situation, you're cranking down on something that's steel, okay? And so that right there allows you to crank down hard with no worry of stripping, and the surface that you're squeezing on. The other thing about the binding post, a normal binding post, is when you put, let's say you put your fork in right here. This is a normal binding post, okay? We got the plastic thing. You have your fork right there. When you crank this down, this piece is going to twist onto the actual spade and tear it up. On this Cardus binding post, when you put the spade in here, look at that perfect fit, okay? And you're going to get a clamp, and you have 2 of them on here. You're going to get a clamp that is going to squeeze down on that with using a Delrin. You see it's got a circle raised little donut, if you will, that is going to clamp down nice and hard on that spade and make an extremely tough, strong connection. You got a steel threaded bolt there that you can crank this down on. So man, you can crank this like way harder than a traditional binding post. On a traditional binding post, you're scraping and you're turning, and you're actually going to score this spade, and you're going to beat it up. So over time, you're going to beat the crap out of your connectors using a traditional binding post. When you use something like this that just has a contact point, and you're pressing Delrin down on it using a separate clamping post, it's a much more thought out, better way to do things. It is a little tricky that you have to hold 2 spades together in there at the same time with one hand and then crank this down. But you know, it cranks so hard that you can actually loosen it and have one remain in there, and then you can put the second one in. So it takes a little getting used to, but in the end, there's a reason for the patent on these things, and these are the same binding posts that you find on the $40,000 amplifiers. Jeff Rowland does not skimp on his entry level whatsoever. So that is a huge thing to know. That tells you a lot about the company, how much Jeff cares. How much does he care? He says, put the expensive binding posts on there. He says, use the same method, put the same machining in it, because he has a standard and he does not go below that standard. That is why I champion. That is one of the reasons why I champion this brand over others. And people say, oh, Mikey, you just talk about Rowland, Rowland, Rowland. It's because it's my favorite damn solid state amplifier. Of course I talk about Rowland, Rowland, Rowland. Would you rather that I flip every month and have a different amp that I think is the best thing on earth? No. What you've seen through my 3 years of having my channel is one consistent love for Jeff Rowland amplifiers, because I know they're the best solid state amplifiers, in my opinion, with the best build and the latest technology and the most integrity in the company. That's why I stand for it. What I want to show you here is something about just a simple build quality thing. Okay, here's an Antipodes Edge. This was a $3,000 piece, if I remember correctly. This is a streamer. Obviously, it's not an amp, but it doesn't matter. This just shows you chassis build, okay? Clearly, as you can see, this is a Chinese-made aluminum, probably extruded piece, or, you know, I'm not sure exactly how they make these things, but the bottom line is it's mass quantity, cheap stuff, okay? This is where I'm talking about. Okay, so this won't do that, okay? This just means the chassis vibrates, okay? And that's a whole nother discussion. Now we've got a front push button switch. Okay, if we flip this around and we go to here, I'll show you what that push button switch consists of, okay? This push button switch, here is the push button switch. I don't know if you can see that, but this is a little teeny ass surface mount, cheap as you can possibly get, with a little LED light on it so that it flicks on and off. This is basically just a cheap little, man, this thing's probably 80 cents, maybe less. And this thing, and then we've got our little button that is captive once we put this back down. On the standoffs, these are just typical computer standoffs that we just screw down in there. So this is the most rudimentary way of manufacturing. You just slap some parts together. You use regular computer standoffs. You can use these on amps or whatever. That's just a standoff, is that little hexagon standoff or whatever for using. You know, those things are typical, a dime a dozen. They're less than a penny a piece. And there's our power switch. Okay, so yippee yahoo! There's the power switch for this $3,000 Antipodes. Here's another switch. This switch came off the $8,000 Antipodes, okay? So now what you see something that is stainless steel. It's got a stainless steel nut. It's got a little O-ring to seal it for dust or whatever against the faceplate that you put it on. And then if you can see, you look on back here, it's plastic. There's a little spring you can see in there. So all the actuation and everything that's done in here are plastic parts, plastic little push arms, and little springy springs, and it's got, you know, and these are solder tabs where you solder onto with your wires, and it's an illuminated switch, so it has an illuminated ring here. 2 of these are to illuminate the switch for the power to 12 volts, it says, so 12 volts illuminates the switch. So you run separate power off the power supply over here to illuminate this thing, and it goes in, it goes out, it goes in, it goes out, and it is, and you can just feel that actuation is a little kind of plasticky or whatever, okay? This is from the $8,000 Antipodes. So I pulled this piece out of the Rowland. This is out of the $3,500 Rowland. Okay, so this one does have an actuation, but it's much tighter. It's much tighter, and you can feel it's just a feeling thing. You can feel the tolerances are tighter on this piece. It's all stainless steel, all the way through the body, through the back of the body is stainless steel. And then we don't even have the cheap solder tabs. We have set screws, which is always a better way to attach a wire in electronics, because solder, the slurry with lead and all the other crap that's in there, affects things. It's resistance. This is less resistive because it doesn't have the glob of molten solder in there, and it's just cleaner, and it's way more expensive. Okay, this part, the first part we got here is probably 50 cents, 70 cents. This part, you know, at a retail level, if we're buying it from the distributor, is probably a $13, $12, $13 part. This is like a $40 or a $50 part, okay? And you can just tell, most likely made in Germany, and it is extremely robust, okay? So I just wanted to go into something simple as the power switch, which you might not think about very often, but this is the differences between the power switches. There are huge differences, and on the front, especially this one, on the front, you can't even hardly tell, you know? You can't hardly tell. This is the Chinese copying the Germans, okay? And it's a lot cheaper, so people buy it. We can make it cheaper, you know, profit more, and then here's the one made in Europe or USA. I can't tell from this, but usually these are German switches. And much, much higher quality, okay? Let's move over to the amp now, okay? So we come to the amp. I've got it upside down. Now, because they machined the cavity out, we have a lid that's on here, okay? And I just put one screw in there to hold this down, okay? And these feet are also, they're Delrin. They're not cheap plastic. These are Delrin machine feet with little rubber pads on them. I actually put 2 screws in here. So take this one out, put all my screws together, and we lift this lid off. Now I will show you something that makes the Mikey versions. If you buy this amp from me, you get a benefit, which is RFI and EMI absorbing. This is a high frequency noise absorbing pad. I have these made for me, and I sell them direct, but I put them into my pieces to help reduce noise. And because these are high frequency switching devices in here, they emit high frequency noise. This absorbs them. You will not get these in your normal if you buy it from somebody else, okay? Because they don't put that, and they don't know what these are. I mean, I have these made for me. So let's go into this inside here, okay? So what we see inside here is a B&O ICE module, okay? ICE actually is a different company from B&O. B&O, I believe, bought them, licensed them, whatever. But ICE is its own company. They make extremely good, reliable Class D amplifiers. And over here, we have a power supply, okay? So the power supply is made for this. This is a 250 ASX2, which is a widely considered. Ever since I've been doing this, I know that this is considered to be the most audiophile of all the B&O ICE modules. Now, you want to say, oh, well, I can find an amp that has a 250 ASX2 and it's $2,000 or it's $1,500, or I can get it from, you know, some cheap thing from Underwood Wally that's you know, uses the same module. Well, I'll tell you what, man, there is way different design that goes into these things. First of all, again, you can see this chassis. Look how thick this is. This is at least an inch. This is an inch thick for sure, every bit of an inch. And this is all milled out. You must realize this was a solid block. This was machined out with a CNC router that machined all this material out. So there's not a seam inside here, only the bottom lid. Everything, it's seamless, okay? So this is super hard. I mean, listen, you know, I mean, this is a solid block. What that means is there's no vibration. And vibration degrades electronics. Vibration makes them, it is not good. You want anti-resonant properties always in anything electronics. For audio, absolutely. And it's probably the same for things like, obviously, electron microscopes, things like that. You don't want vibration. But medical devices might be the same. They may be less sensitive if there's vibration. So they have special tables they build for certain medical equipment, all that kind of stuff. Now, what makes this thing really stand out is this red board, okay? It's very nice of Jeff to do that in red so we can see, here's his signature, okay? This piece right here is Jeff's, and I'll try and bring this up closer. This is Jeff's signature right here, okay? And this includes his signature input Lundahl input transformers, okay? You do not see these in very many items. And when you do, those amps are extremely expensive. What these Lundahl transformers do is they decouple the input stage from the rest of the amp, and they remove noise before. So when your XLRs come here, or if you use RCA adapters, which you can with this, you will, this decoupling transformer will decouple the noise, and they're very high quality made in Sweden, not made in China, not made in Taiwan. These are from Sweden, both of these. So it's an extremely high grade Class A input stage with decoupling, with transformer decoupling. Or they call it transformer coupled, okay? But that means decoupling. So this is very important. This here is the magic of this piece. This combined with the chassis, combined with this hardware that's on here that's much higher grade, you will not find something made this well at this price. So this is why I champion the piece. And of course, this goes right in here, and we have our wires that hook up to this power piece. So I just wanted to take this time. I have sold, let's see, 26 of these in the last year and a half. And I am the leading Jeff Rowland seller in the U.S. And if you would like a Jeff Rowland, of course, contact me. I'm happy to sell you this amp or others like it. I always have them in stock. I'm not an order taker that tells you it ships direct, and I put my money where my mouth is. So I have these things ready to ship immediately. I just wanted to let you guys know about my favorite entry into the real HiFi, if you will, as far as solid state amplifiers are concerned. These amps are the ones that changed my mind about Class D. I hated Class D for so many years. I was the last guy to adopt it. And what happened was I went into a show, into the Rowland room with Jeff Joseph, and that room was easily one of the best sounding ones at the show. This was at Expona. And I find out we're listening to Class D, and I could not frickin' believe it. I was like, I can't unhear what I just heard. I have so many customers that absolutely rave when they buy this thing. I can't believe it, Mikey. You didn't even, I had no idea. I thought it was going to be pretty good, but this is killer. I'd be happy to share with you people that have, that sold the Prima Luna to put this in. I've got some that had, oh man, it ranges, it runs the gamut. I had a guy with monoblocks that had some of those Kinky Studio monoblocks, and he replaced both monos with one of these, and it killed them. And so, and I just mean in terms of transparency, in terms of power and grip on your speakers, this thing has intense grip. It is intensely powerful for how little this amplifier is. It's extremely powerful. And I don't know anything else on the market that is in this price range that can compete and give the quality that this piece can. So I just wanted to make a quick video. Thanks for joining. See you guys soon. Again, over and out. See you.